Welcome to the Operation STRIX podcast. I am your host, LaCroix. Joining me today, as always, are Roski Draftsman.
Hello, I'm kind of asleep right now.
And Cool Blue Rays.
Hi, guys.
Hey, we're tired. It's later in the evening than we're used to recording. Forgive us if we're a little quiet and out of it, but we absolutely had to do a recording today because Chapter 70 dropped this morning, and despite us not planning to do an episode today because Blue had a dentist and Mrs. Crow had an opera, we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It was a good chapter.
You should put in a little post. Oh my god. Trying to take a screenshot of that little message joke I made about the series chapter thing.
I plan on making a full intro on that, so don't you worry your head on that, Blue. I was way ahead of you on that one.
Okay.
I mean, I guess pretty much everyone after reading the chapter was like,
Well, okay. Let me start off with a question to you, Blue. Based on what we were talking about last chapter, are you still is this what you were wanting in regards to Endo being serious?
Not this way.
Not this way. Okay.
Well, it's hard to see the characters you love in peril, and Anya is the tiniest and youngest member of the Forger family.
Yeah.
So, her having a bomb strapped to her neck is a little much.
Not for some on the server. Some probably wanted more. But I thought it was sufficient.
Yeah,
yes.
some of them.
Some sick bastards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm right there with you because I was not expecting this extreme of a jump because the way the chapter started, I was a little hesitant because we had talked about this possibly going the route of the kids solving this on their own and
right.
Not
very serious. It'd be like Goofy, Home Alone, kind of the kids defeat
the
bad guy.
Right, which I will, to Endo's credit, he does cut that off very quickly because we find out that Eden knows that the buses are taken over, but the police tell them not to say anything, so they keep quiet about it. No, the parents don't know. And that was our thing that we were talking about last week. It was like, Eden's gonna have a lot of pissed off parents, but none of them know because Eden's keeping a tight lip on it, which blows my fucking mind. Like,
I'm not surprised. It's a reputation thing.
I'm not surprised. I'm pissed off for them. Like,
it's still really crazy to think that the school would kind of put their reputation above the safety of children and their families knowing what's going on, because it could go wrong so quickly.
Yeah.
And do you want to be the one to have to call the parents and tell them what happened at that point?
I mean, that's true.
It's a lot.
That rings a bell with real life institutions.
Yeah. I mean, and it. Okay, so Eden knows. We know that Wise knows, and they know that Anya is on the bus, but they are also not electing to tell Lloyd because Lloyd is out on a mission, which pissed me off for multiple reasons. Okay, I had talked about how I want this to be a turning point. We both talked about how we wanted it to be a turning point for Lloyd in the manga.
Yeah.
As they're setting it up now, it's looking like he's not even going to be a part of this. I hope that's not the case. I hope he finds out and gets appropriately pissed off. One, that obviously Anya is in danger, and two, that Wise is keeping this from him. Because that's a whole can of worms that I would love to see just opened, and I want all the chaos that comes out of that, because that's some fucked up shit, you know? Like, feel free to jump in on this. It's like,
I was rereading the panels with Wise showing up, and all they said is that they just can't reach him, which, what kind of bullshit excuse is that? What do you mean you can't reach him? You have spies like all over countries, and you have no way of communicating or getting him.
Did they say he can't reach them?
They also say something like he's gonna take a while to reach. So it's like,
that's what I heard. Or
yeah,
that's what
it
I
says
read.
we can't. He's up in Bayan on an undercover mission. It'd be a while before he could even make it back.
So he's pretty much
out of it.
Yeah,
it's out of. It's probably out of of Ostania altogether.
Yeah, so we don't know. Okay, so it's in Bayan, which one of or several of our server people said that in their language that means country. I don't know.
Snoosted and Filipino.
And Nagi in was it Hungarian?
No, sorry, that was me. I misremembered. It was just Snoo saying that.
Oh, okay. So it means then Filipino. I don't know if that's what Endo was going for when he came up with that, but
I'm not sure.
It's possible, but
yeah. Either way, they're making it sound like he's very far away, which even then,
he can't be that far away. He's got to go home tonight.
And like, I know, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, how he can't be that
unless
far.
He's like lying about being on some kind of business trip for a couple days, even. But
yeah, but that would, I don't know, that would seem cheap to me if they just threw that in there.
Right? Because like, Anya didn't say anything about that.
Right. And
yeah,
and
a little too
even from a little too convenient, and that's why I think like, and that's my problem with Wise's reasoning behind this, or at least Handler's reasoning, because I don't know, because everyone else is like, hey, we should tell Twilight, and she's like, no, he's busy on a mission. I don't know if it's because he's undercover and that would blow his cover and that would put him in danger, or if it's just simply for the fact that he is on a mission and that's important and we shouldn't compromise the mission just because his daughter is on a bus with a freaking the leader of a terrorist organization, because obviously that's not important enough. And I don't know, like I this is one of those moments where Wise is questionable to me. I'm not saying they're the bad guys or anything like that, but it's like Handler didn't give two fucks about that bus, which when that dude came up and told her that there was a terrorist on there, until she found out Anya and Damien were on there. And even then, it doesn't feel like it's super. It doesn't feel like it's at the top of her priority list. At least that's the way I interpreted it. So yeah, I don't know how to feel about Wise at the moment.
Well, I think it sounds like, based on what I'm reading from these panels, is that Wise or Sylvia, at the very least, do their best not to interfere when it is kind of police business with Ostania, because, well, that would arise questions about if there's situations happening, and if the local enforcement isn't taking care of it, who the fuck is taking care of it? That would just raise a lot more questions with Wise's presence.
Yeah.
So, because I don't believe Sylvia herself is being completely a cold-hearted bitch, obviously. Like she's got to make some choices and calls with the priority of where their attention and resources can be put to. And it sucks that a bunch of students got hijacked on a bus,
right?
But that is kind of a situation that the local police should be able to handle. I don't think we've gotten an indication that the police are so incompetent here that they can't handle.
Well,
I think they aren't gonna get it. They're probably not gonna get involved in the open.
Are you talking about the secret police or just regular police? Or are you talking about Wise?
I was talking about secret police in this case, because technically they are kind of the police, generally local enforcement. At least for, I think, kind of like these higher risk situations, if anything.
Right.
Right.
So I'm under the belief that Sylvia was choosing to not interfere with the situation because Ostania and Berlin already have their own local enforcement,
right?
who should be qualified to handle it. And obviously, it's different because there's the son of the target that Lloyd needs to monitor, and there's his daughter who is part of that mission. Like, it makes sense that she'd start to care at that point. But I wouldn't say it's because she's being like a cold-hearted. Like she's just not caring about the lives of these students. It's just like, well, I mean, terrible things happen every day, I'm sure, whether in real life or like in fiction and shit. You can only pick and choose what you kind of can help with and what you have in your power. I'm just saying that.
No, you're right. I don't know. It just feels too sanitized for me, like her reaction. I'm not saying she's in the wrong. I do think she's in the wrong for not attempting to tell Lloyd.
That I do think is a little, like, I just don't understand how they don't have any kind of way to reach an agent when they're far out.
I think they
like
do.
That
I think they're just electing to not to.
No, that's basically the point. I think it's like, okay, you clearly have technology. Like, you have no real reason to not even attempt to reach out or, like, send someone or something. Like, there's probably some elaborate system to send messages out to someone across the country or whatever.
There's probably...
They have, like you were saying, they have people all over the place. So, like, somebody could get to him.
Yeah. Or you have, like, all those, like, business shops, like, you could call up one of them and be like, hey, send a relay from one end to the other or something.
Yeah.
There's probably something we haven't been told about this yet.
Well, I mean, there's a lot we don't know at the moment, because obviously we didn't see anything about Yor. We don't even know if she's at work or if she's home or what.
Right, that's true.
I mean, I don't know if he's gonna find out yet.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe she will, because, all right, the whole, like, 2/3 of this chapter was Anya, Becky, and Damien coming up with a plan to reach the outside, which we had talked about last week, but they did it in a different way. I thought they were going to have like a walkie-talkie or something like that, but the kids were actually smart about it. Becky especially. Like, Becky was like thinking outside the box on this one.
She was really on top of it. Like, I'll write down the note on, like, my school ID and put it in a tin can so people have to notice it. And, like, she even added, like, apparently the Black Bells have a special SOS code for family emergencies, which, that makes sense. I mean, they're, like, they create weapons. I'm not surprised that they would need something like that,
Yeah. Good.
So I think the kids handled it remarkably really... It was, like, just on the point where, like, okay, this is, like, really smart, but it doesn't seem like it's out of bounds for, like, a child to come up with something like this.
Right.
I guess.
Especially because the entire time they were acting like kids. Like, I think Hip had pointed it out, where it's like, how dare you make me laugh during a hostage situation, because they were just being cute kids with each other. Like, Anya's like, I'm gonna write this note, and of course it's all scribbles, and Becky's like, no, Anya, let me write it.
Oh yeah, but her handwriting is just
it's just not readable.
I feel bad for her teachers. Like, how the fuck are they gonna read and grade her tests, let alone any kind of, like, essays?
Yeah, or like when she throws the note to Damien, he's looking at her like, what the fuck? And she's like, Becky, read it. Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, so they managed to get, the message out, and assuming the people there find it right away, so I'm assuming the media is going to get wind of this very quickly, especially the Black Bells. But it wasn't perfect, and a lot of people have pointed this out on Reddit and the comment section and all that. But, like, usually when Anya does something, it works out perfectly in her favor. Like, it might be a little messy, but at the end of the day, like, she gets out scot-free. She didn't get off scot-free this time. Billy Squire saw her and brings her to the front of the bus, and that's when we get the huge fucking moment where he straps a bomb to this 6-year-old girl. Probably younger girl.
She's
4-year-old girl. And he's like,
if you do anything, I'll blow you up.
Yeah, that whole scene right there, that was chilling. Where he's just like, if you do anything, I'll blow her head off. If you do this, I'll blow her head off.
Basically, if she does anything, if they try to remove it, or if the kids start acting up,
yeah,
they're gonna just blow Anya up.
I will blow.
So like everyone,
like yeah,
like everyone is like
y'all
on
the
line,
right?
Kind of thing.
It's like what the
I
fuck?
did not think that's how it ended. No, I did not think a terrorist would strap a bomb onto a child.
Onto Anya of all people, like.
Yeah, that too.
No, I mean that was like that was the perfect way to rise the stakes, because
Oh yeah.
I mean, in every possible way. For once, because it's the character we care the most. Not that we don't care about Billy or Becky, but Anya is the one the audience is attached the most. She's the face of the manga.
Right.
I mean, that also tells us she's not gonna bite it, but it raises attention.
Right.
But also because in the context of the story, she's the one that makes the most sense for every possible reason. For once, because she was around when they did this cute trick of calling for help. And secondly, because she's the most, from the perspective of the terrorists, expendable of the bunch. She is from a middle-class family. She has little to no leverage in hostage negotiation with important politicians. So they can kill her without compromising too much their plans.
It does beg the question of whether or not he knows who Anya is. If she's, because he knows a bunch of the kids' parents, like
he must.
Yeah, so I don't.
He's
but
smart. Yeah,
right,
he must.
So I don't know if that's simply because those kids are like, top. They're somewhat famous, so he knows them. But like, I don't know if he had like a manifest of like the school kids and just like researched all of them, which is possible considering they were in the school already. So like,
yeah, I could believe that.
And I mean,
and plus, like Billy said, they want to lobby against the government or have their parents lobby against the government for their demands.
Right.
And Anya's parents really don't have much say in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it makes the most sense that they would pick her. It's like really fucked up, but it's really smart, and I think that ultimately does go to show that Billy is definitely, he's smart. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's very much in control of the situation, even when things like this pop up. Like he knows just how to spring right into action, kind of thing.
Yeah, the most threatening villain.
Yeah, that's pretty damn
really
worrisome.
Yeah,
he's worse than Keith. I can't believe we actually found someone worse than Keith.
Right.
Or like Sniff Jobs. Remember that guy?
I was just gonna talk about Sniff Jobs because like even though Sniff Jobs was like ultimately he was more evil just because like he's an assassin and like he's controlling all these other assassins, he was still like he had a decorum about him that like he wasn't like bloodthirsty or like barbaric. But with like Billy, it's like I will fucking slaughter everyone on this bus without hesitation. And it's like, well, fuck, like what am I supposed to do with that? Like,
yeah.
Wow. We have not had a villain like this. I will say that.
Yeah, he's got like I think based on like kind of how he looks and the way he dresses, sort of, he kind of has like that decorum of like he's been around or survived in probably a lot of situations, that he's just very much a hardened kind of criminal.
Yeah.
And literally a terrorist leader. Like, that's not someone you just fuck around with. Clearly, this guy has done a lot of things in his life to get to this point, that he's not going to hesitate at the idea of just strapping a bomb onto a child, or like threatening to shoot them with a gun. Like he's making like a very clear stance right now that like he's in charge, and if you don't want to get hurt, you're going to have to do what he says, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure there's a lot of really great psychology going into like the way he acts and stuff that I don't quite know. I'm sure someone in the comments could explain it better than me. But he very much is like he's gained control of the situation very quickly.
He's asserting his dominance, and I mean, in a hostage situation, when you're trying to have somebody meet your demands, you're gonna want to show them that you're not fucking around.
Yeah.
But like, and my thing with that is like, if Lloyd and Yor get involved in the sense that they are going to, get on that bus somehow, or like Yor's gonna get, it's not gonna end the way all these other villains have, where it's like, okay, Keith, that ended comically, like, Yor kicked the car and, he got arrested. Sniff Jobs and, what is it, Snoop? They got thrown into the water and, like, with sharks and stuff like that. Even though it was kind of morbid, it was still kind of funny. But, like, here, I don't think this is gonna be a fun ending. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it's gonna be personal. There's gonna be gunfire. Like, it's gonna be bloody. And I don't think this is gonna be one of those like, oh yeah, the good guy, the good guys won. It's gonna be like, fuck, like we survived this, and like, where do we go from here?
Kind of a hollow victory.
Yes.
Yeah, those kids are gonna get traumatized either way. They're probably
already traumatized.
Oh yeah, no, they absolutely are already.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Poor things. Anya especially.
I know, Anya goes through so much.
And it's like, oh, God bless her. Like she's like such an adventurous little girl, and like even though all the things that she's been through, like she's still been the same Anya, Yeah.
That we knew and love. I have to believe, because of the stakes of the situation, that Anya's probably going to have to learn and stick with something after this whole experience, whether it's like not to be as reckless as before, maybe lose a little bit more of her innocence, then she's already lost. Because I think we talked about this before, but this is kind of the first time, I think, except like we discussed then the Inu-san crisis, where Anya wasn't like legitimate direct danger of like a criminal harming her. There was Keith probably going to like kill her with a knife, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. And now we have her strapped to a bomb. That's a lot.
That's a lot. It's for what, and it's like been less than like a year. It's probably been like maybe 6 months. Like she's gone through so much in these 6 months, and it goes back to what you and me were talking about last week, Blue. Of like, Lloyd has put her in so much danger, and like I think this might be the point where, like you were saying, she's going to finally like. She's gonna think about like, okay, maybe being a spy isn't all that. Like maybe like being an assassin isn't all that. Is like it's not all
It's not just like an exciting adventure.
Yeah, people get killed, and like she's seen people get killed because of her mama and stuff like that. But like being on the receiving end of that, and like being exposed to being like nearly killed and blown up, like I think she's finally gonna be like, she's gonna be more standoffish now, and maybe not as adventurous. Like maybe there'll be a span within the story of her just being like cautious and like nervous and scared. And,
right. Because she was kind of like that in the beginning, actually. Remember? Yeah. Like when she was reading Lloyd's mind and trying to hide from bombs. And everything, and then when she almost got kidnapped for her Eden uniform during the grocery store thing, and she got lucky because Yor was right there to rescue her, and that's why Anya was able to feel a bit safer.
Right.
But this
now
is a whole different situation. This isn't just like her getting bullied by a bunch of little kids. This is like actual fucking dangerous adults who are trained to kill, and whatever they're going to do at the Papier Palace Park, that's where they're going apparently.
Yeah.
Makes me I'm very confused about why they're going there. I have to assume they have like some kind of hideout there because they can't just have a bunch of kids out in the open,
Right.
in a hostage situation. If Anya interpreted it as that, then I'm going to assume it's probably where they're going to. And I don't know, like the way that it's written a little bit, I was a little confused. Saying we're about 30 minutes away from Papier Palace Park. If we keep on Route 1 like this, we'll be out of the South Lake area in blank. And she just says, oh, that's where we're going, apparently.
Uh-huh. So, I mean, it could be... I don't know. I doubt they would stop anywhere. It would be stupid of them to stop, but,
they might have the reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It might be, or they might be like a drop-off point or like an exchange point where they're gonna take him off the bus and put him somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe they were gonna fucking, I don't know, take him out of the country for all we know.
Maybe. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, they got a bunch. They have a bus full of kids from really important families and people of like society and whatnot. Like they could be. They could be holding these kids hostage for fucking weeks, months even, for all we know. But because, I mean, if you're going to lobby against the government to have your demands met, that's not just going to be like, yeah, we'll do it like in a day or something. Like,
No,
it's going to take a while. I'm assuming they probably were going to hold them for a while before they, were going to be willing to let them go and everything.
And that's what I was just thinking right now is like they have to get in touch with the outside somehow, so they're gonna have to get off the bus at some point.
Right.
So there's that. But yeah, I mean, like we were saying, or like I was saying last week, this could be the turning point of the manga, and like now after this chapter, I'd say all bets are off, and I think I'm right on that. Like, I don't think there's any going back from this, like in any capacity. Like,
it would be kind of crazy and out of touch. I think most people would agree that like it would feel insane if Anya just went back to being herself after the situation she's been put in.
Right.
Like this is way too much for her to handle. All of it has really been too much for her to handle. She was just very lucky, like we said, to have everything kind of turn out the way she wants to.
Yeah.
But in this situation, like she's directly in danger right now of being blown up.
Yeah.
And
she has the most danger.
She is. Like, this is the most high stakes danger she's ever really been in.
Yeah.
For sure. I know that people have been I know people in the server were coming up with different ideas of like who might come in to fix the situation essentially. I personally would love if it was Yor, because I'd love to see protective mama feral Yor like brutally kill all these guys somehow. But other ideas were like, oh, Yuri with the police, because they would do it, I guess, technically in the proper way and everything in the public, or like Frankie or something. I don't even know.
How do you think? Okay, that's one of the big theories right now is Yuri. How do you think he's going to? How do you think he's? I would assume that he would know that Anya is in that bus. How do you think he would react? Like, I know him. Like, I know he isn't the biggest fan of Anya, but like, how would he feel knowing that his sister's daughter is on that bus? Because I'm curious to that too. Like, I want to know what his reaction would be.
Personally, I think that for like a split second, Yuri would, be confused or shocked or whatever by, oh, Lloyd's daughter's in danger. Like, he might be petty, I think, for a second there. And then he would just shut that off and be like, nope, I'm going to be a professional and do my fucking job, which means having to rescue these kids. If it were to come to that, and be the really good SSS officer he apparently is, that we've only seen like one time. Like, I know Yuri has it in him to be very professional and do the job right. And even though this is Anya, like, she's still a kid. She doesn't deserve to be put in the situation. I think that would just infuriate Yuri, if anything.
Yeah.
That, like,
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
to see it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure, because I don't even know if Yuri's actually going to show up this time. We thought for sure he'd show up last time.
Yeah,
and,
but
nothing happened. But this time, seems like Wise is going to let the police actually handle the situation, and they might assist in the background, which would be very interesting to see how they make that work.
Right?
Like, how are they going to secretly help out the secret police on the mission? Secretly.
Secretly. The secret police secretly.
Oh, that's I mean, but no, I like that point of like, it might not be because of Anya that he takes it personally, but because this is a school bus full of kids, and he just does. I mean, that's the same. His motivation is pretty. It's pretty in line with Lloyd's motivation of just like he doesn't want to. He wants to protect families. Basically,
yes.
And how could he let this slide of like this dude is ready to kill children? And I feel like he would take that very personally.
That's basically where I'm at. Like if it was Yuri, and it feels like maybe a little more likely it will be from what I've been rereading right now. If it was Yuri, I think he would very much put his pettiness aside, because Lloyd isn't worth like. Obviously his daughter being in danger. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Yuri has shown off to be kind of a frustrating individual with Lloyd, but Yuri doesn't really take it out on Anya at the very least.
Too much.
Like, I mean, he gets he kind of gets petty and bitter like when he's like trying to tutor her or whatever. But that's not really the exact same as him actually actively trying to say anything to hurt Anya's feelings or belittle her, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's very different. And like if it is Yuri that would actually come in to do this, which I'm kind of hoping it is now that we're talking about it, I would say that it would be a very interesting turning point for Yuri to do this, and I think even for Lloyd to actually tell Yuri like thank you for taking care of this and being with my daughter when I couldn't be there for her, kind of thing.
I mean that last part doesn't make sense, but
what part?
Lloyd thanking Yuri, because that
I would love that. I think that would be so much character growth for both of them.
No, but I mean saying to himself, because
oh no, I think Lloyd would suck it up. Like I think
Lloyd, because I mean that would mean he knows he's part of the secret police, and that
this is a whole situation. I unless Yuri asks Anya not to tell him, I don't see why they. I get what you're saying, that Yuri is secret police, so they shouldn't have this covered in the media, but. This is a bunch of really important children of important family members. Like I was actually thinking about that as well. Like there's a very good chance this might get covered in the media and everything.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it will, because I mean, regular people know about it now. So.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I know that was like something we had discussed about. Like, oh, what if they like see Anya, and that's how like the scientists or like some of the ex-lab members or whatever, that's how they kind of find her again or something, and that would lead into like Anya backstory finally.
Oh man, we're going down the rabbit hole on this one.
Yeah, but not to dive too much into that right now, but to say with this situation, like maybe Yuri will have to come clean about it, just because like, well, if he does rescue his sister's stepdaughter, he can't exactly hide that from them, especially if Anya will most likely tell them about it. I don't know.
I don't think Anya's pretty tight-lipped about things.
I mean, it's true.
I don't know. I mean, I think if Lloyd knew that Yuri saved Anya, he might do it to where he gives like a blanket statement to like the SSS.
Gratitude.
Not that he knows that Yuri is in the SSS, but just like thank the SSS for saving my daughter. And then Yuri would hear that and he'd be like, yeah, whatever. But there's so many possibilities, and just I don't know, man. Like this is we're on the roller coaster, and this roller coaster does not stop. Like we've been so low these past couple of chapters, and like we were talking about it, you know, that we didn't want false hope, but I mean, it's here, and you know, this is a lot of like the stuff that we've been wanting is just like serious moments, all the angst, all of the just like ultimatums that could possibly arise from this, and the fact that this is so big that it might lead to the family finding out about each other, at least in some sense. That's huge, you know, for this whole series.
Yeah. I think this is definitely going to be a very serious turning point, and I'm sure the key to it is it's because it's Anya. Like, okay, yours has been hurt before on a mission, you know, the cruise arc. Lloyd's been hurt or tired out from his missions, but they're adults. Anya is a 4-year-old girl, and this
Who's
situation
not supposed to know any of this,
right? And she's being put in this position that could easily have killed Lloyd or Yor, like having a bomb strapped to your neck, you know,
right?
Like, I'm sure as them being parents, they would really have to reevaluate, like, kind of Anya's safety, of course. Like, Lloyd especially. Like, we've talked about the guilt he's going to have to feel about realizing that he is the reason Anya was put in this situation. He is ultimately the reason she ended up being hijacked on a bus with a bomb strapped to her neck. Like, that's a lot to put on him. But I think he needs this, like, kind of like slap to the face reality check kind of thing,
right?
You know, like
you can't keep using children as pawns in your game, like,
right? Yeah, basically. And I mean, to Lloyd's credit, he at first wanted to do his best to not involve Anya in the situation after chapter 1 and everything. She was really the one who pushed, like, she wanted to stay with him and she'll cry if he leaves her again, kind of thing. But, you know, like, ultimately Lloyd did make the final decision that, okay, I will stick with her because she needs me. And now he's probably going to realize that maybe she would have been better off without him in the first place.
Yep.
I love that you brought that up, because it's like, now, like, contextualizing it, especially with all the things that we're dealing with right now, it's like you really get the sense that even since the very beginning, Lloyd has been attached to Anya, and just the fact that, like, he should have brought her back to the orphanage after all the shit that happened, you know, with her getting kidnapped and all of that. And it's like his whole thing was compromised. Like, every part of Twilight at that moment should have been like, no, like, I gotta drop this kid off. But, like, Lloyd Forger took over at that moment, and, like, that at that moment, Lloyd Forger was bored, basically, and I
completely agree with that. And I have to add, I think that in Lloyd's head, he basically was kind of convincing himself by saying that, you know, I'm gonna give her a better life than what she's had. Yes. So it's justifiable. Yeah. And it's fine that I'm using her for this mission. And like, now she's in this position that never would have happened if he hadn't kept her in the first place. And, you know, drag Yor with him. Like, oh my god. I can only
it's gonna
be. Yeah.
It has to be a changing point.
The ringer.
It has to be a changing point.
It does. It really does.
It does. If they go back to shenanigans after this,
well, we're
gonna be a big disappointment.
We're gonna have some shenanigans here and there, but as far as, like, the overall tone of the story itself, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a comedy manga, but, you know, it's not, we're always gonna have this in the back of our pocket. It's like Endo can flip the switch like that and just immediately thrust us into, like, this moral dilemma, or, like, life-threatening dilemma, in 2 chapters. I mean, or in 2 pages, like, just immediately, like the whiplash I got from laughing about, you know, about Becky, Anya, and Damien, to being like, oh shit, like, you know, there's a bomb on Anya. It's like, what the fuck? I couldn't process it the first time I saw it. I was like,
oh, absolutely not. I couldn't believe what I was seeing the first time. I was like, did they really just put a bomb on Anya's fucking neck.
Yeah.
You know, like, you get one thing from the chapter for, like, the 75% of it, and then, like, the last, or maybe more like 90% of it, and then the last 10% is like, nope, here's a bomb on Anya's neck.
Okay, bye. Well, you know what? Oh my god, Blue, we were just talking about how this is a plot bomb, and, and then he drops an actual fucking bomb on us. Oh no!
Damn
We're
it.
giving him ideas.
Yeah! We manifested this, it's our
We
fault.
fucked up, Blue.
The ideas you give him and the ideas he takes
Sorry,
from
I'm
them.
sorry.
No, but it's insidious. He always takes the most damning ideas we give.
He does.
I made a joke on Twitter about, like, Happy Halloween, love this new spooky episode, great show of child endangerment.
For
Oh
your
my
viewing
God.
pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
you know, for what it was a straightforward, you know, quick chapter. It was like 19, 20 pages, so it wasn't a short chapter. It just went by very quickly because, you know, it was the pacing was good. It felt like a full complete chapter with a cliffhanger, and that's something that, like,
Yes.
you know, even Endo struggles with. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Especially-
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. This very much felt like, okay, solid setup, solid jokes and writing, and then we get a very major cliffhanger.
yeah.
But my god, this is the extreme of the rubber band. Because my god, we got from the most silly of shenanigans that we were starting to get like, we were gonna get something exciting. To holy shit, they put a bomb on a kid.
It's too exciting. Too exciting.
Yeah, so it's
Like,
it's a
we
little
wanted
cringe because
more danger. Fuck, take it back.
it's a little extreme how far back the manga can get.
It's a
between
little
extremes.
extreme. Yeah.
So I don't know
Oh,
if
Endo
that's a
just
good
loves
or bad
playing with
thing
us.
because it keeps things interesting, but
It's
Yeah.
a little much. I'm not gonna lie. It's like a little too much, I think, for, like,
Definitely.
most average readers.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've been, like, really accustomed to this kind of style with Endo for so long, I think, that it's just, like, I mean, yeah, that was shocking, but this is kind of Endo. Like, if you know Endo, you know that this is kind of his bread and butter.
Yeah.
These situations.
It's Spy Family, the series in general. And,
Yeah.
okay, since we're on this topic, I want to move on to the anime.
Oh, okay.
Because, okay, but before we get into more of this discussion, I want to say, okay, we had just figured out which one it was. Episode 16, episode 16 and 17. Yeah. So, okay, I will say the good things first. Okay, episode 16 is probably one of my favorite episodes. It was yours cooking episode. And I want to say, like, the first 3 minutes of that episode were so, like, the background music was, like, so chilling, and, like, they really, like, played up, like, the horror element of everything.
Oh, yeah.
And
They
then-
really thought they had to go and,
Yeah, and,
you know,
like,
like, Born Princess stuff, right? Like, she's, like, murdering or something really grim is happening with her
And then-
assassin job.
and
And
they
then,
just
it's tomatoes. But yeah, that's what I was like, because of course I'm always watching the react videos, and, like, a lot of these people have never read the manga before, and everyone's like, oh shit, like, what the fuck is going on here? And then, like, it gets to the point where Camilla shows up, and they're like, oh fuck, is she gonna kill Camilla? And then it's like, oh no, she's like, Camilla's teaching her how to cook, and everyone's like, oh, okay.
oh,
Yeah.
you
Oh
guy.
my god.
Yeah, the delivery
Oh.
on all of that was top
Yeah,
notch.
that
Like,
was a great episode.
mhm.
Like, all around, really fantastic. I have to say, it made me like Dominic's character or care about him more
Yes!
than I thought, because, like, the voice
I love
actor did
Dominic to
such a-
begin with, just throwing it
he
out
did,
there.
yeah, he did such a good job with making him like, oh, you know, he's a nice, chill guy, but he just happens to have this really kind of high maintenance bitch alpha girlfriend. And he's very patient with her, like, oh, like, Camilla, you should be more confident in yourself. You're a lovely lady. Hey, that smells pretty good. Like, he's just very grounded and down to earth, and Camilla's just, like, shrieking her head off at everything.
I mean,
why do I love you?
Yeah,
he brings the best out of her.
Apparently, that's the best she can do. But seeing this and, like, their performance, it really makes me want, like, some kind of mini chapter with, like, how did they meet and start going out and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, can we get them on a double date with Lloyd and Yor? Because that would be adorable.
No. It would. I don't think Camilla would go for it, though.
Ooh.
But I think it would. I think it would be nice.
Yeah. I've always loved Dominic's character, and like you said, this is like really good at like fleshing him out.
Yeah,
because
he was really cute. Honestly, he was just really well done, like his voice wise and everything.
Yeah,
he was like really sweet,
chill, pleasant dude, and like somebody again, one of the commenters, and they were like, oh my god, like Camilla's husband's so awesome, blah blah. And then somebody corrected them and like, no, that's her boyfriend. And the guy's like, why hasn't she married him yet? Like, what the fuck? She's like, you need to get on that, Camilla. But yeah, no, I even liked the Frankie bit, even though it did feel tacked on.
It did,
just because we got to see Lloyd dressed as a woman, but still like the same
with
voice,
his regular voice.
I just love that,
I love the bit when Frankie's like, shouting at Lloyd like, "Hey, I'll sell you out to the secret police," and Lloyd just stops and then like turns, and he's got like the murderous look in his eye. I fucking love that.
That's the face I wanted to see in episode 1. Like, why didn't we get that face?
Yes, that's what I wanted.
You can do it. Just do it. Like, yeah. No, I don't really have any complaints with that episode.
No.
Yeah, not at all. I think it was really sweet. Like, they played it off wonderfully. I think with the tone of, okay, this is like really funny, but it is really sweet that Camilla's here actually helping Yor learn how to cook more. And, then she made that comment, like I talked about, where she points out, Yor looks like she's got more focus and drive in her life than just like some kind of robot who just, lets kind of life fly by, pass her by or whatever.
Yeah.
And everything, I think it was all handled beautifully. And the way they handle like Yuri scenes when he's like barfing and eating.
The sound.
That was
oh my god, the sound.
I know.
Well, his VA is so good, and like he really sells it.
Kensho Ono was so good as Yuri, man.
No, but I mean, but in general, the sound, like when Camilla and
the
Dominic
barfing,
they flop. It's
like a white spray.
Like, the thought, like that.
Oh yeah, when you fall, like, where they pass out from the I love the smack on the ground. That was great. That was really fun. I also want to say, I enjoy Camilla's character more when she doesn't wear makeup, or I like her appearance more when she doesn't wear makeup. Like
a bit more plain, kind of.
Yeah, like natural, I know. She just looked cozy and like I don't know. She looks really honestly, fake when she wears the lipstick.
She does look really kind of high maintenance-y. Like, well, she is high maintenance. Look at her fucking mansion. Like what the fuck?
How did you afford that?
Exactly. She must be rolling like trust fund baby money or something.
I guess. I mean, you're a freaking city hall worker, like.
Yeah, but which is even more funny because like Dominic lives in some kind of like shithole apartment like Yuri.
He
like,
does.
Why the fuck hasn't he moved in with her at this point?
That's a good point too. Yuri also lives in the same shithole apartment, so like we were talking about how he probably doesn't take care of himself, so like that's probably why.
Yeah.
But I love that episode. Episode 17 is where I have complaints.
Right.
So, before we go ahead, I wanted to talk about Dominic's voice actor because it's always fun when we bring this up. I'll skip a few, but he was in Resident Evil Village, like a small off character named Sebastian, which I think is one of the villagers Ethan meets in like the beginning of the game.
Oh yeah, it's one
I know you're talking about
that gets killed.
Let's see. There's a Lost Judgment, another video game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know it. I guess not. He was also another couple of other like side characters in Spy X Family. Actually, he was some of the thugs that tried to kidnap Anya, some of the Y staff, and some of the student terrorists from the Inusan crisis.
Interesting.
Oh, so he's doing. I mean,
he's doing extra work. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, stories do need those kind of characters, and the fact that he blends in is actually a compliment to his job.
An asset.
Because it's an asset because if you don't notice that it's the same guy, he's doing a good job.
True.
That just makes me think about Lloyd doing that Bondman anime, being all the fucking voices.
Don't
Does that mean he probably did like Princess Honey as well?
Or maybe he made Frankie do that. Could you imagine Frankie's VA doing a girl voice?
We need that anime episode now. Where's the anime episode?
Oh my
god. Oh god.
Oh shit.
Okay. Let's move on. To episode 17. Yeah.
I was actually rewatching it in preparation for this podcast because I kind of forgot about it.
I didn't like this episode.
Yeah.
Straight up, I didn't like this episode.
Getting it out of there.
Yeah.
It was clumsy. That's the thing. It was
in general, so disjointed.
It felt. I mean, the thing is, from the technicals, animation-wise, it was plain. Like, I'm gonna say it right out. It wasn't. I mean, there were some bits of cool storyboarding, but generally speaking, it felt plain animation-wise. It's like,
Yeah, I just felt like it was like a throwaway episode. Like, okay, we just need some like fun shit, so we'll just put all these mini stories together.
Yeah,
which is like, I don't know how I feel about that. I hope they don't plan on doing that a lot with the other.
I don't think they can.
Stuff.
I don't think they can, but they. I mean, I think it's fair to admit that they had like their work cut out for them because many of those mini stories are hard to fit along others. Anyway, but it really felt disjointed because the end of the Damien part, was meant to be like this emotional punch, you know, like this 6-year-old kid realizing that his father doesn't care for him. It's meant to be an impactful note, and then you kind of put that aside to do a joke with Handler that has nothing to do with anything, and it shows. And it really shows that you are patching stuff together.
Yeah, and the delivery of that joke wasn't even good. Like it didn't like sell the joke.
Yeah, it wasn't really that funny. Like I felt the way it was handled in the manga.
No, in the manga I was laughing a lot.
Yeah, like and me and Roski were talking about this before the podcast, but like me personally, all right, especially in regards to this episode, because like, you know, part of this is what Roski was saying is like, you know, it loses a lot of the emotional impact, the Damien part, when you add, you know, tack on this stuff at the end, but also just from like a pacing standpoint, the Damien part ends up taking like almost the entire episode, right? And then you lump it together with a very small short mission, and then at the end of the credits you put on an even shorter short mission, and it's like it just feels like you're just throwing everything against the wall. It doesn't make sense. And you know, me personally, I would prefer that they get all of these short missions and just throw them all in one episode, because all of these short missions are, for the most part, like character introductory little tiny missions, or like expanding on characters that are already introduced. Yeah. So it would make sense to have them like a small, like an anthology almost, of just like, okay, here's the Handler one, here's the Yuri one, here's the Frankie one. It's like I would much rather sit through one episode of a bunch of short missions than have all of these small episodes or these small missions tacked on to full episodes. You know what I mean?
I mean,
so.
I agree.
I mean, you will get a rather unsatisfactory episode and not a bunch of episodes that get their thunder stolen by jokes that aren't given the proper space to present themselves.
And like the excuse that like some of these episodes aren't long enough isn't good to me, because episode 3, there was a lot of extra padding in there to make it a full episode, and the padding felt natural. It felt like it should have been in the manga. And episode 5 was completely made up, like 90% of it was
the entire.
Yeah, right. So you can't tell me that like some of these episodes they couldn't have just added some extra scenes to like make it a full episode. You know, to me it feels lazy to tack on, you know, something that's completely unrelated. I don't know. Like, I don't think like what you were saying, I don't think it's going to be a recurring problem in this season, only because I'm assuming we're going to get the tennis arc, and there's going to be a lot of just like full episodes of that. So
it's gonna, I expect at the bare minimum 3 episodes. It can be shorter than
3
at the bare minimum.
Does that include the bar? Because I don't think the tennis. I think the tennis portion itself will maybe be 2 episodes. Maybe,
but yeah, like I said, at the bare minimum, it's gonna be like 3 episodes. It can be shorter than that. It really can.
No, I mean, so like, from when, like, how are you counting the tennis arc? Are you doing like the chapter 30 of like the Fiona introduction to like the
from the Fiona introduction to the bar scene, it has to be like 3 or 4 at the bare minimum.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hopefully. And then we're at what? How many episodes are we into the core already? We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. Maybe.
We're at 5.
Wow.
The next one is gonna be Daybreak, and like some other one, which I'm super stoked for. I can't wait to see who his voice actor is.
Stuff. They're gonna reveal information about how Anya can't use her powers during the full moon.
Oh boy. And all the people are gonna be like, "Wow!"
No, it's when it's like not in the sky. New moon, I think.
New moon, yeah.
Yeah,
new moon.
Right.
Yeah. What is she?
When the moon goes bye, so does her powers.
Yeah, and then it never gets explained after that. You're like,
nope,
okay.
And they haven't used it ever since.
God. Which there's been plenty of opportunities to use it too, but I think Endo just forgot. Like,
I mean that's normal in manga, you know.
It really is. I
really is like
too much for that.
Launch in Dragon Ball. When you forget
Launch! Don't even get me started on Launch.
The goddamn writer's convenience.
He forgot multiple characters. Let's be real here.
Yeah. He forgot so many.
Yeah. But let's hope Endo doesn't do that.
Right. So
he forgot about Daybreak.
I will
apparently.
He did.
What we technically got is Yuri tutoring Anya for a bit, the midterm stuff leading into Daybreak breaking into Eden Academy, and Lloyd coming along for the ride and everything.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see how they pace that out.
Well, see, those two together make sense, because, you know, it like you said, is Yuri tutoring Anya, and then the next one is the midterms and, you know, Daybreak coming in and fucking shit up. So that'll be like a cohesive story right there. Like I don't see any problems with that, unless they make the Daybreak part like really short. I don't know, but we'll see. I hope not. I hope that's like an extended part. Like, I want to see extra Daybreak bullshit.
I'm so curious about who the voice is going to be.
We need more Daybreak, honestly.
Yeah.
We do need more Daybreak.
We do.
I completely forgot he was actually in the tennis arc for like the longest time till someone pointed it out like recently.
Oh yeah, they have to expand on that.
Fiona knocks his ass out.
Yeah, we have to expand on that. Like,
how the fuck does he make a living? Honestly.
Okay, all right, Blue. It's that time of the podcast for some curse shit. What if Daybreak comes in and saves the day in the manga? Bring him back. Make him the hero he was always meant to be. Yeah.
The only way he'd be able to do anything useful is to get beat up as a distraction.
Like Billy doesn't.
That would be
like
funny.
Billy doesn't even use a shotgun. He's like, "Who the fuck is this?" Just beats his ass. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That
I
would be
mean,
great.
it's Daybreak versus his evil twin.
It is evil Daybreak. Like they look so similar.
Yeah, maybe they're actually brothers.
No.
Oh.
We got like full crack territory now.
Full crack, thick. I expect one by the end of the week, people. Fandom, I need you on this. Hip, where's Hip? Put her on this.
Hip's too occupied with the angst. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
There's been too much like fucking
yeah.
too much angst AU stuff I've been talking to her about, to be honest.
God, what if we get an angsty Daybreak fic? That would just like that's the worst, in my opinion.
No, that will be golden.
That would be pretty golden. Oh my god.
Yeah. I'll get on it eventually.
Oh jeez.
But yeah, I very much, I think we could all agree that episode 17 is probably not our favorite of Core 2. I can't imagine they could ever make it any worse. Because even like when we were ranking these episodes, I still like episode 1 versus episode 17 right now. Because at least it feels like coherent and it's fucking story and, you know, like, okay, yeah, it's solid.
Yeah.
And everything. And yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
think
it's the
agree.
biggest episode of the
Daybreak
entire
flop.
series so far, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a flop.
Yeah,
And
it didn't hit home, which is like
kind of sucks too, because you know it's like during the weekend of Halloween, I thought we would have gotten something a little more interesting, or you know, just some more decent story before we got more into like this mini arc stuff again.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got the chapter, which, in my opinion, it makes up for it. Like, I don't care about the episode once this chapter came out. Yeah,
yeah, it definitely
it was the moment where we all went, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah,
we're back, baby.
We're back. We got fucking angst. And
we got
violence.
The juice, and we're here to dissect all of it.
We got child endangerment.
Woo! Child endangerment.
Woo! That's the stuff.
All right, we've lost it. This is where we cut it. That was the chapter. Those were the episodes. I cannot be more excited for the next chapter. I'm sure both of you feel the exact same way.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm expectant. I'm expectant this time.
I need him to deliver, and I think he will. But yeah, that'll do it for us today, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.